Hello and welcome to another All Nation video. Today I want to talk about this piece of roadbed that we developed. And I did this mainly because I have a lot of models that are not on the layout, but I like to have them displayed on the shelf and ready for use whenever I want to put them on the track. But in order to display them really nicely, I decided I wanted a roadbed that had a concrete tie profile to it and something that simulated the steel clips that hold the rail onto the ties in a modern roadbed. So what this particular piece is about 8.5 inches in length, and we go through a construction process on the printer where we print the roadbed with supporting layers under the ties, and we have 3 color changes: the brown, the concrete tie, which is kind of a silver filament, and then the actual black TPU. We use TPU 98A because it's flexible. So first off, what I want to say is that you want to prepare your rail, and typically I'll take my code 48 nickel silver rail, which has no weathering on it, and I typically like to do some weathering. And the way I do that is I'll take a bunch of rail, lay it on the glass here side by side on edge, and then I use these 2 products that I got from Micromark to actually treat the rail. I usually start out with the jacks, the brown black, and just paint it on and let it sit, and it oxidizes and changes the color of the rail. So as you can see, this rail looks almost like something you'd see in a railroad yard, maybe a little bit greasy and dirty, somewhat rusty in spots, and this treatment has worked pretty nice. I don't know if it shows that well on the camera here, and it varies, unlike if you were trying to weather this with enamel or acrylic paint by hand. And using the Jack's Pewter Black, you'll probably get on a nickel silver something that oxidizes with a sort of a greenish tint to it. And the two end up giving a very nice and varied look all across the length of the rail. Following that, when I treat both sides, I'll set the rail flat on the glass like this, and then I'll take a piece of sandpaper, typically something like this, which is kind of well worn, wet dry paper, and all I do is polish the top of the rail, and I don't make it extremely shiny, but what happens is the top of the rail starts looking like a steel rail. So you get that same effect that you would see in a rail yard where they've run a lot of trains over the head of the rail. Now going back to the roadbed, typically when we print the TPU, which is a rubbery type of plastic, it's quite a few threads as it bridges, doing each of these across the ties. And in addition, the clip is not open, so it needs to be opened up so that when you slide the rail in, the web of the rail goes through without any blockage. And the easiest way to clean up TPU threads is to use a nice sharp pair of cuticle scissors. And typically what we'll do is we'll go in here, clean up any threads, and use the tip of the scissors to go in on the clip and just snip it like that, and go right down the line and open them up. Now you have the option of removing the build material from the back, and you can see where I've knocked out some of it here. But typically I leave it in because you can't really see it, and if you want to ballast this, you'll use less ballast because your build material is taking up the space. And we use the support build material on the printer to support the ties as it's building the ties across and bridging the sides of our roadbed, almost like a true scale in the old days. And here's the back end of one, another one here. So what I've done on this section of track is I did clean it up with the scissors. I opened up the clips a little bit, and one of the things I generally do on the rail to make life easier is I'll take and I will either file down or put this up against the grinder and make it a nice point so that when you start feeding it in, it slides in nice and easy without, fighting you. And it just goes in this easily. If there's blockage, you don't want to force it. If you come up to a section here where you didn't snip it off real good, you want to back it out a little bit, snip it again, and then run it through. And you can do this, and you pretty much be able to get away doing this with up to 3 sections, 8.5-inch sections. They'll butt up against each other like this. When you're all done, you're already really engaged as far as the railhead is concerned. So that's my little tip and trick for today as far as weathering your rail. I suppose there's other chemicals you could use to get, a different coloration. Typically, this isn't going to rub off very easily or flake off like maybe a paint might. If you're painting, you probably need to rub down some acetate to make sure there's no grease on the rail. But in this case, it's just real easy to take a small brush and stroke it on there and let it sit, and magically dirties up the side of your rail. It looks very realistic. Hope you enjoyed this video, and give us any of your comments or thoughts back, and we look forward to doing some more of these.